Hey, welcome to the Star Wars Unlearned Podcast. My name is Josiah Schuett, and I'm joined by Nathan Hawley. What we're doing is we're looking at Star Wars from the perspective of its creator. So we're turning off our fan brains and really just trying to uncover the story that Lucas is trying to tell. We're in the middle of our series on Attack of the Clones, where we explore the filmmaking, the history, the mythology, and everything else that Lucas and his team used to bring this second chapter of the Star Wars saga to life. So join us as we dive in and unlearn what we have learned about the Star Wars story.
Whoa, welcome everybody. Today we're doing something different. We are live on location.
I know, for the first time.
For the first time after 2 years of living only 2 hours away from each other, we're finally close enough to do it in-house.
This is awesome. No, this is great. This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an actual podcast now.
It is.
I can touch you.
Yeah.
You're right in front of me. Yeah.
And we are almost in the parents' basement. Not quite.
Yeah.
We're my parents' house for some birthday celebrations.
Yes. We were talking about how, Star Wars nerds belong in their parents' basement. We're so close to being in your parents' basement. We're in your parents' house.
Yep, we made it.
Yeah.
To honor all of us Star Wars fans everywhere.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. All right, episode 2.
Yeah.
Might be a little shorter today, but that's okay.
That's fine. Short and sweet.
Live on location.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to start things off with a quote from the last scene, actually. This is from the script. This didn't make it into the movie, but I just thought it's a nice little encapsulation of kind of what the whole movie is going to be. And this is what Yoda says. Actually, he says part of this line in the movie, but he says, "In dark times, nothing is what it appears to be, but the fact remains, Senator, in grave danger you are." Which is kind of a nice little quote of the whole movie. But just that idea of, we're in that noir movie feel where it's foggy, it's murky, characters are not what they appear to be. And I just like that Yoda actually says that. And maybe that's why Lucas removed that. He thought it was a little too on the nose. But we're, especially in the scenes to come, we're really going to see that, I think, that idea of in the darkness, you can hide and be whatever you want to be. And, we're going to see a changeling here. We've already seen decoys being used by Padme, so everyone, Dooku, who is he? There's every character is like a character of mystery. We're not sure what they want or what their motivation is. So I'm excited about that.
That is a great quote.
Yeah.
So can I interject a question now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I heard this week, and I didn't think about it, but we missed it. So when Dorme, right? It's Dorme who died in this one.
Corde.
She says, "I failed you, Senator," and someone online said, "How did she fail?" Do you know anything about that? What's her failure? Is dying?
Yeah,
failure?
that's interesting. Well, her job is to protect the senator, make sure that she stays safe. Okay. And so I think she might feel guilty about getting her wrapped up in, like, she's so close to the explosion. Like, oh, maybe we should have kept you further away from us. We should have checked out this area before we land or something. That'd be my guess. But Padme does tell her no. Like, you didn't fail me. So maybe she just felt like, well, there was, maybe she feels guilty that there was an assassination attempt and that she's putting that on herself. But that's a good question. I'm not exactly. I haven't heard Lucas talk about that line in particular, but
so the fact that there was an attempt is the failure, like that there was an attempt so close.
Yeah, that she was so close. Like she was on that.
Unquote.
Yeah, like she could have been in that starfighter that got hit by that debris and fell off the landing platform.
Oh, okay.
I remember noticed that last time. Like, Padme could have been in that ship. The attempt could have actually been successful almost. Yeah. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So who knows? But that's a good question. I don't really have a definitive answer, but that's an interesting idea.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That was an interesting question. Someone in fandom brought it up.
Mm-hmm. It's a good question.
I thought, I need to ask Josiah because we forgot to cover that.
Well,
I didn't think about that.
The reason I didn't cover it is because I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I didn't either. Oh. Wow. By the way, we are at my parents' house with a bunch of little kids running around. So if you guys hear little kids noises in the background,
or pianos or screaming or toys,
they are being supervised by other adults other than us.
On a very special episode of Star Wars Unlearned, where
that's right.
Things go off the rails. Anyway,
okay. Well, thanks. That's interesting.
I could review the script, but I don't think actually I can do that right now and see if there's anything in there.
I never thought about that, and I'm trying to remember where I heard that because I just heard it this week. And ironically, here in the United States, we actually just had an assassination attempt on one of our former presidents. It's horrific, but it's interesting because there's a lot of talk in light of that. The fact that there wasn't even an attempt, there's a lot of blame being pointed to the failure of possibly the Secret Service. Yeah. So I was wondering if maybe that was kind of what is hinted at, or...
Well, this is interesting. I just pulled this up. So in the original script, and this is the only version of the screenplay we have access to. There are different, obviously many different drafts, but this is the only one that's been released publicly that we have access to. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember off the top of my head where this falls, and I think this is pretty close to production time. So this isn't like an early draft. This is one of the later ones. One of the ones that Jonathan Hales contributed to, the guy who gets screenwriting credit on this movie with Lucas. But in the scene, Padme goes up to Corde, and Corde says, "I'm sorry, my lady. I'm not sure I," and then Corde dies. So that's all.
Whoa.
So it's not. There's no mention of I failed you or anything. And Padme's, no, and Typho says you're still in danger, and then it kind of plays out as it normally does. But it's interesting. That may have been part of a pickup shoot where George changed his mind and got a new shot of her saying something different. I don't know.
Yeah, wow.
But there's something going on there. Well, interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I was curious on that.
Yeah. And also, I didn't mention this last time either because I don't think it's kind of a long scene, not super necessary to go into, but there was a huge scene in the Senate that was cut from the movie where Padme shows up and where basically Palpatine gets the news that Padme has been assassinated. And he thinks that everyone thinks she's dead, but then she shows up and I'm not actually dead, by the way, but then Padme's freaking out like this is what our society's come to. This is what they're kind of like what's happening now in our world. That everyone's she's saying, how could we let this happen? How did we get to this point? And that's what leads them to having that conversation with the Jedi and the Loyalist Committee, which is the scene we're about to. We just finished. We talked about that last time. Was that scene? So that leads into that. So
would that have been the introduction of Palpatine then?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, and it. And I can see why it was cut because it didn't really reveal any new information. It was just kind of just a lot of. It sort of just kind of felt like, hey, in case you forgot, this is what the Senate is. This is who Palpatine is. It's sort of just a refresher, I think, for the audience. But it was cool to. I think Padme's role in that was interesting. So
yeah, that's really interesting.
But it's not. Doesn't. It's very much not in the movie, so I didn't really think to bring it up. But it's cool if you got. There's footage. There's not an entire thing was shot, or there's not footage of the whole thing, but if you look at the script and you can find deleted scenes on the DVD, I think, or Blu-ray, you can find part of that was filmed. And I think at one point edited into the movie. But,
yeah, I haven't even seen that. I've seen most of the deleted scenes, but is it on the DVDs?
Part of it is. Not the whole scene is, but part of it is. They definitely, part of it was filmed. I think the whole thing was probably filmed, but some of it was edited into a version of the movie that eventually got cut.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been really different.
Yeah. Huh. Very, very different. Huh. Anyway.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks for answering that. I wanted to know.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
I respond. I don't always answer.
That's right.
I don't think I cleared anything up, but
that's okay. Speculation.
So do you want to, I guess we left off with Obi-Wan and Anakin in the elevator.
Yes.
Where we left off. You want to jump into that?
Yeah. That sounds great.
So yeah, we have Anakin in the elevator with what looks like Lady from Lady and the Tramp. Obi-Wan's hair. You can tell the scene was a pickup because Obi-Wan looks like a Cocker Spaniel. I hate his wig is so bad in this movie.
I'd never even picked up on that.
Even as a kid, I always thought, why does Obi-Wan's hair look so lame in part of this movie? But
interesting.
So yeah, I like his normal hair. His natural hair is great, but these wig scenes, dude. They look rough. Tell. He just looks like a dog. He looks like a Cocker Spaniel.
That's so interesting. Is the beard fake too?
Yeah, the beard.
Because this one I've noticed that.
The beard doesn't look good either.
There's a few scenes in this movie where I'm like, wow, that beard looks really weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I've wondered if that was it right there.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this was a pickup. This was done. George Lucas always schedules some time after the main shoot to give him some options where he's like, well, maybe I should add this scene, or we need some more clarification here just so he can cover his bases, because he's always changing. It's always fluid. Everything's always kind of in process. So this is definitely a scene from that. Actually, I have a quote from him about this scene. From Lucas about this scene. He says, in that first cut of the movie, the student-mentor relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin was pretty rough right away, which got everything off to a bad start. Then, throughout the rest of the film, Obi-Wan is tough on Anakin, and Anakin is upset about how Obi-Wan treats him. After seeing the movie, I realized that we needed to soften their relationship a little bit. So the audience would see that they are actually friends. So I added this new scene in the elevator to establish that they actually like each other. All the way through the movie, I had to find a delicate balance between their affection for each other and the tension that is always there between them. And I really appreciate that he did that, because... it's so easy to get caught up in Anakin's journey in this movie just being he's in such a horrible place. He's just this whiny brat. But the point is, he starts in a good spot. It's just there's a lot of pressure put on him in this movie. Like you can tell that between episode 1 and now, he was a good kid, and he's still a teenager, so he's dealing with all the emotions that come with that. But Padme's thrown into mix. There's a threat to his mom thrown into the mix.
Right.
This threat of war. So this is not a normal situation for Anakin, and so he's gonna be acting in very unusual ways for him. And so this very first scene, and there's a later scene where Obi-Wan and him have a conversation while they're guarding Padme, where they're a little softer to each other and they have a little more. You can tell that they're friends. And so I'm very glad that he put this in there because, yeah, we forget about it because if it wasn't in there, all we would have is that, like he said, that kind of animosity between them.
That's a really good point because there's a lot of criticism for that in this movie, that Anakin's unlikable, that he's a jerk, that he's whiny.
Yeah.
I never thought about it in perspective. Well, yeah, I guess that's true because Clone Wars he really made up for that, right?
Yeah.
Like Clone Wars, George really wanted to say, "This is Anakin and Obi-Wan as buds."
Yeah. And Anakin is like in his element. He's at his best in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
This is not him at his best. Yeah, and he is, and through much of it, he is unlikable and whiny.
Yeah.
But he's not always that way. It's important to know that he doesn't start that way, and there's reasons why he is that way. It's not. This isn't Anakin in his normal. None of these characters. This isn't a normal day for any of them, and so we got to take that into account when we see how they react to things. Same with Padme. Same with Obi-Wan. Yeah.
I think that's really critical to understand this movie. A lot of people don't like this movie because of that very thing.
Yep.
And I think what I've been learning over the years is like, well, George meant for that to be. I mean, he's not supposed to be likable in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You're supposed to cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks, oh, George is just such a bad, whatever, scriptwriter or filmmaker or whatever, director. But I mean, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be like, ooh,
yeah,
I don't like how this feels right now. Yeah.
Yep.
And George says, right, like we talked about in episode 1, like he said, people are not going to like these movies. Like they're not the how do you put it? The feel good, the victory, the upswing. This is the downswing and the
so, absolutely.
That's a good point. I appreciate the way you phrase that.
Well, yeah, I think it's thank you, and it's just I think it's important because, like Anakin is. Oh, I lost my point. I was good. I was liking what you were saying. I forgot what I was gonna say.
An off day for Anakin.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So this is why again it's so important to start with episode 1 because episode 1 shows you who these characters are to begin with. If you start with this movie, you have no idea how good of a person Anakin can be. Like all you have is this first scene where he's kind of joking around with Obi-Wan, and you have a couple scenes where he does some good things, but you need that movie to establish who Anakin's character is and to show that this is a difference. This is he's really veering off from his path, and so the audience who grew up has been introduced to Anakin in episode 1 now sees him as, oh, this is a mistake. This is like, well, no, go back. Like you're making mistakes. You should trust Obi-Wan. You're really putting your foot in your mouth with Padme, and Palpatine's not a good dude. Like all this stuff is kind of clear if you've seen episode 1. You know who Anakin's true character is.
That's a really good point. I never thought about that.
Another reason why it's so important to start with Phantom Menace because, as Lucas said, you've talked about this before. Episode 1 is the exposition. That's where he's setting everything up, and this is where conflict happens, and that's why that's what makes stories exciting is when characters rub up against something, they bump up against something, and so that's going to cause conflict and chaos, and characters are going to be yelling and screaming. But that's entertainment. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see characters being happy all the time. But
drama.
You need to start with them in the normal happy version of them, and then you show how they change and how they, in this case, fall from where they start. So I think this. I'm very glad he put this scene in this movie because that helps establish that, even if you hadn't seen episode 1.
Yeah, that's a great point. Man, I never thought. I mean, I thought about it to some extent, but an off day for the characters is such a cool way of thinking about it.
The whole movie.
And that's like this. Well, this movie, however long it's supposed to last, isn't that long.
Yeah,
just getting one glimpse of like one of Anakin's worst days.
Yeah, well, same with Revenge of the Sith. The Clone Wars it's the same thing. Clone Wars is there to show you this is who Anakin is at his best. And at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, he's still that Clone Wars Anakin. People think Revenge of the Sith, Anakin he falls too quickly, or they get caught in the. Yeah, it's the worst day of Anakin's life, or his worst days of his life. But again, we would all be, if you thought your wife was going to die, if we all thought this was going to happen, we would all not be acting our normal selves.
Right.
And so it's important to know that, that's the base level for Anakin is Clone Wars in that sense. And then Revenge of the Sith is, again, a very, very off day or a very off week or however long it is for him. So, yeah.
One great perspective. And I think, I was arguing with a friend of mine years ago about this, and I just think, Like, what would you do as a teenager?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just lost your mom. This girl is in your life now.
Yeah.
Things are not going well with your school or your peers or a mentor in this case.
Yeah.
How'd you react?
Yeah.
Anakin's supposed to be what, 17 in this?
He's 19.
19. So, I mean,
but very sheltered. He's been in a monastery his whole life, so he's not. This movie shows. Sorry, I started to cut you off.
You're good.
But this movie shows that he's doesn't talk to girls particularly well. He doesn't know his way around the world very well, and so he's very sheltered and uneducated about the world. And so he's going to react in the wrong way.
Yeah, and then being told you're the chosen one.
Yes,
like you are the hero of the galaxy.
Yeah,
like oh my gosh, how would you react?
Exactly.
I mean, none of us are going to be like a. I mean, Anakin. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You've been stripped away from your mom, then you lose her.
Yep.
You're told you're the hero of the galaxy. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's this forbidden love thing you got to deal with. Yeah.
Oh man, and I just think that's I can't emphasize that enough because Attack of the Clones, the prequels in general, but Attack of the Clones gets so much criticism for this.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, come on, like George is. I mean, could the dialogue be a little bit better in places? Sure, I guess, but this is a serial piece, right? It's supposed to be a little clunky.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of like we talked about with episode 1. But put yourself in the character's shoes. Like, what are you doing? You know,
Yeah.
like, what would you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. As a 19-year-old, I'd be making all kinds of mistakes, you know?
Exactly, yeah. Lucas, if you want to see Lucas writing good dialogue, watch American Graffiti, watch THX 1138, where he puts much more emphasis on those things. This, again, he's painting a picture visually here. He says the dialogue, of course, it could be better if he wanted it to be, but he wasn't as concerned about that. He was more concerned about making sure that visually we could understand what was happening, and the music too was also that. In terms of what you hear, he was more concerned about how the music and sound effects and all the environment would give you an overall impression. He's very impressionistic. If he was a painter, it'd be impressionism. And of course the dialogue is important, but it's just not the most important thing to him.
Right.
So totally agree.
Yeah.
And speaking of dialogue with Anakin, I love that again. His first line in this movie, Obi-Wan says, "You seem a little on edge," and Anakin says, "Not at all." Again, he won't show weakness, and this is still like in good faith. Like they're having a good, they're joking around. Like I can see the screen right now. They're smiling at each other, but Obi-Wan's saying, "Hey, is something wrong?" He's like, "No, of course not." And even though it's again, we don't know where this is going as an audience yet. We're still in the dark. We don't know about Darth Vader. We don't know about Revenge of the Sith yet. But in this case, it's still consistent with what we saw in the last movie, where Anakin is. If anyone questions him and doubts him that he's less than what he could be, he's like, "Nope, I'm good. I'm totally fine." And it's just a nice small little moment of that.
So consistent. I never even saw that. And how it's so critical in episode 1. Yeah, like that's the darkness they see.
Yep.
Right? It's just like, man, how did I miss that?
Just Lucas is nothing if not consistent.
Yeah.
It just can be a little hard to see sometimes because he's artistic, and so it's like he likes to use different ways of describing things. Like, wait, is this a different idea? No, it's the same idea. He just talks about it in different ways, and so, yeah.
Boy, and would you say it's fair that Anakin often puts the whole world on his shoulders?
Oh yeah,
like independent. I got to do this alone because we're gonna see that in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, that whole scene in the garage with Padme. He's like, "I'm a Jedi. I know I'm better than this." Like the fact that he makes his mom's death his fault. Like his fault. Like I failed to save you, Mom. Like I won't fail again. Like, who are you? I mean, it's like, again, talk about pride and arrogance. Like even in his pain, even in his grief, he's saying this is something that I should have done, something I should have taken care of, and I failed. It's like, you didn't have the power to save her. You didn't, why couldn't I save her? He's talking about that as if that's an option to him at that point. It's not. He just he believes it could be. And again, that part of that is that prophecy of the chosen one. A lot of it is Palpatine's influence, him building up, saying, you're the most powerful or most gifted Jedi I've ever met. All that, like that's totally the dark side and Palpatine's influence on him. So he definitely puts the world on his shoulders, and obviously in very arrogant ways and prideful ways, but even in his grief, even his sorrow, he makes it worse than it could be. He's harder on himself than he should be. Yeah. Like Padme says, to err is to be, what she said, to err is to be human. That's a quote from something else. But what she says, she says, to be angry is to be human. And he's like, I'm a Jedi. I should be better than this. Should be better. Yeah. And again, that's where people start to get the idea of like, oh, Jedi shouldn't experience emotion. But no, that's Anakin saying, I shouldn't experience this emotion. Where no, it's like it's okay to be angry, but don't let that control you. And actually he's doing that without realizing it. So
wow. Yeah. The power of humility, right? And it is like thinking back with Qui-Gon, how he needed to learn that a little bit. And we talked about that episode 1. Yeah. Right. But he learned it. He took it quick. And that changed the whole outcome. For him. And respecting the underdog and humility. Yeah. That's huge. Absolutely. Wow. That's it. Wow. my mind's really blown. And I'm thinking about Revenge of the Sith, how even Padme, she's like, and we'll get to this, she's like, don't do this, don't shove me out. You know, where she asks him what's wrong, nothing. You know, that's interesting, and we're here again.
Yep.
Wow.
Anakin never admits to a problem.
He never admits to the problem.
Yep. Or just there's and it kind of turns into when Luke says to his father in Return of the Jedi, come with me, turn from this, betray your master, like come back to the good side. And he says it's too late for me. Yeah, he won't even admit that. Yeah, it goes from I can't. There's no problem to. And even in this movie, you're so like, I know I'm better than this. Like, why couldn't I save her? He starts to despair and said, actually, if I can't solve it, then there's no way to solve it. Like, Luke, Vader doesn't have faith in his son to bring him back in that sense. He doesn't really quite say it that way. I don't think he actually means that, but that's sort of an idea of like, it's so much about my accomplishment, what I can do, that he shuts everyone else out. And even when Luke is coming to him to help him, he's like, no, it's too late. You can't no one can do anything about it. Of course he's wrong about that. But
yeah. Because you think about pride. And it can take so many different forms, right? Like there's a Han Solo pride, where he's just super cocky, like I got this, you know. And Anakin's kind of that way, but he's more, I don't know, it's a different kind of pride.
It's more deeply rooted in pain than Han Solo's is.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's almost like he's using humility as a form of pride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like, well, I need to do this. I need to be better. I've lost people. This hurts. Whereas Han Solo's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm exactly. Gonna shoot you in the face.
Yeah,
you know?
he just wants money. At least in episode 4.
Yeah, but yeah. So it's just really different forms of pride. Boy, and there's a warning for us, right? Just be aware of the danger of pride.
Yep, and that's what the Jedi warned, or trying to warn Anakin of in episode 1, where it's like, be mindful of your feelings. Like we know that your feelings would admit that you are having a problem, and we can help you. If you don't admit it, if you're not going to fess up to it, no one can help you. Yeah.
Gosh. Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah. One more quote from Lucas here about this scene here, or just about their relationship in general. He says, it was a complex thing because these two characters were vaguely similar. There weren't the same contrasts we had with Luke and Han, where one was young and naive and the other was cocky and wild. Yes. Here we had two characters who were much more alike, so it was important to point out their differences. In The Phantom Menace, I'd set up that Obi-Wan didn't like Anakin very much, and that he took on the job of training him more as an obligation to his late master than out of any fondness for the boy. I'd set up some friction between them, but at the same time, I wanted them to have a friendship. So yeah, that's him again talking about that scene in particular where there is
that's good.
There's to show that Obi-Wan does care about him now. He started out like, I don't want to take care of this kid, but I love Qui-Gon. So now it's turned into, I do have love for Anakin, but there's still tension there.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important just to, because there's a popular idea that Obi-Wan failed Anakin, or Obi-Wan, is the, and I think we've talked about this, and I think incorrectly, where Obi-Wan failed Anakin. He's the father that Anakin shouldn't have had. He should have had Qui-Gon, where Obi-Wan actually does a good job. It's Palpatine who messes things up. But without Palpatine, Obi-Wan and Anakin are great. Obi-Wan's a great master for Anakin. This is just, we look at, there's friction in episode 2. I'm like, yeah, there's friction in every master mentor. Yeah. Like, you're a father, you know exactly about what it's like to love someone and your child, and then have that friction at the same time. Like, why don't you do what I tell you to do? That whole thing. You know exactly what that's like. I've experienced that only from the child's point of view at this point, but I'm sure if I have kids, I'm sure I'll get there. So that's actually normal. It's not a sign of a failed relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin. And George is just hammering that point home, that these guys do care about each other. They are friendly. It's just that this is a very stressful time. This is a unique situation for them. They're not going to be neither of them are going to be at their best in this scenario.
Which is another reason why I think Clone Wars is so essential to the story. Because you get to see that. Like, Clone Wars really focuses on these guys are brothers. Yeah. By the time Revenge of the Sith comes around, you see that with Clone Wars. If you're just watching the movies, and I remember this in episode 3, the first time I watched it, it's like, wow, that was quick. Like, where are you, the dark side? He just betrayed Obi-Wan? What? That was quick. But when you slow down and marinate, in episode 2 for sure, but I mean, like in the Clone Wars, you feel that pain when Obi-Wan says in Revenge of the Sith, you were my brother. Yeah. I loved you. You see that portrayed out, drug out. Whereas just episode 2, it's a little hard to see, when you're jumping from episode 2 to episode 3.
Yeah. And again, episode 1 sets it up too. Like, you see Anakin's character, how the greatness and the darkness in him is there at the beginning. And so even without Clone Wars, I think there's more of it's longer than people thought just in the movies, but Clone Wars definitely makes it more clear. Yeah. Especially, I think of that arc where they think Obi-Wan's dead, or Anakin thinks Obi-Wan's dead.
Oh yeah.
And like how much their relationship you can see how much Obi-Wan means to Anakin there. And,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's Clone Wars does a lot to strengthen their relationship. Even though it's interesting because that wasn't George's original intention with Clone Wars. He didn't want to focus on Anakin and Obi-Wan as much, but there were several times where they got back into that relationship because. Yeah, Lucas has said like, well, the Clone Wars is really Anakin's story. Well, I want to explore just the galaxy conflict in general, but he couldn't help himself. He went back. He went back and definitely did a lot of stuff with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Oh, and I'm glad he did.
Oh yeah, it was great stuff.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a huge Clone Wars nut, as you guys know. But
as you should be. As you should be. So I'm so excited. If we can stay alive long enough, we'll get to Clone Wars at some point.
20 years from now.
Yeah, I know.
In our retirement party, we'll go to Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good, man. So good.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
No, you're good. Anything in that? That's all I had on that kind of first scene with them. Their dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean, we just set up that it's set up that I haven't seen her in 10 years. So
yeah.
Lucas has talked about this commentary where it's just functional for the audience. Okay, there's no history between Anakin and Padme that we don't know about. So that's like the other just kind of housekeeping thing that happens in that scene.
Yeah.
Other than developing the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's two notes in here that I really like. One is we get a callback to Gundarks here.
Yes.
Right. So if that was introduced in episode 5 when Han Solo says that to Luke. You're strong enough to pull the ears off a Gundark.
Yep.
And here we get it again. We fell into that nest of Gundarks.
Yeah.
But we still get a little bit of that character pride from Anakin. It's like, no, I pulled you out of that mess.
Yep.
You fell into that, right? And Obi-Wan just laughs at it.
Yeah.
And you get that nice, like, Alec Guinness look at Obi-Wan here. We didn't get a lot of that in episode 1. Some, but here you just get that sweet side of Obi-Wan. You know, that playful, kind of sweet side. And we're gonna get
Obi-Wan had like one joke in episode 1, like the negotiations were short.
Yeah.
And then, but here, he's much more softer, much more Alec Guinness-y. And it's fun to see how that was very intentional. That Ewan McGregor and Lucas worked together to dial up the Alec McGuinness. you and Alec McGregor Guinness. To dial up the Alec Guinness with each movie, with each progressive step. And especially when you get episode 3, it's like, well, he's almost entirely Alec Guinness right there. So
yeah. And I like that. I like that dynamic. Especially, like you said, because the rest of this movie, we're going to see a lot of tension between these two characters. And we even see a smile from Anakin. We don't get a lot of that in this movie. So it's good to see.
Yep.
The other thing I was going to point out is you really see Anakin's love for Padme, you know? It's still going. Yeah. He's sweating.
Yeah, he's exactly, so nervous.
So here's the power of a girl right there.
Yeah.
Make you sweat.
Yep.
Yeah. And it is interesting to me that Obi-Wan kind of just chuckles at it. There's not really a like, Anakin, you shouldn't be doing this, you know? He's kind of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that Obi-Wan's clearly okay with him being nervous about talking to a girl. And even later on, you know, he doesn't like shut it down. Like, oh, you shouldn't, you know, like a girl. But when Anakin starts to like, being around her again is intoxicating. Everyone's like, well, calm down, dude. Be careful. Remember, like, you're not supposed to fall in love here. You're a Jedi. You got a commitment. Yeah, you already made a commitment, and it wasn't to a girl. It was to this life first. And so that's the danger. But it's not. But having that feeling, liking a girl and being nervous and having those butterflies, that's Obi-Wan's clearly okay. He laughs at it. You know, that's not a sin. I think a lot of damage was done with when whoever did the poster design for episode 2. Did you ever see like a Jedi shall not know love? Yeah. And it's like, whose idea was that? Like, I mean, I don't, obviously Lucas isn't, that's not under his purview. That's the marketing team or whatever, but like that really messed up, I think, a lot of our people's perceptions of the Jedi and specifically this movie. Like, even though it says in the movie, are they allowed to love? It's like, yes, but you know, it was just so blanket and we assumed we knew what that meant. And it's like, yeah, I think that speaks to like Obi-Wan's clearly okay with Anakin liking this girl and being, you know, and Obi-Wan, we find out later, was willing to leave the order for not Sabine, Satine. Thank you, one letter off. Yeah. Sabine, and so it's like there's, Obi-Wan at least was allowed to get to the point where he cared enough about her to leave, but he wouldn't let himself get all the way there, and so that's the problem is again that idea of a possession.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got so many questions there, but I'm going to save that until we get to that scene. Okay.
That scene in Clone Wars, or?
No, in
this one. Okay, I was like, wow, if you can remember that.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a while. No, Anakin's conversation with Padme in the ship, what he kind of says, when she says, are you allowed to love?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. I'm going to save that. I'm going to be good today. And wait.
You're good. Well, good. Yeah, be kind to me, because I don't have all my ideas together on that one yet. Yeah, I got to do more research.
Yeah.
But... Cool.
But it's a nice scene. I do like it.
Yeah.
And you get a little glimpse of that camaraderie. Yeah.
Cool. And now we have our old boy, Jar Jar.
Jar Jar
walking in.
Do you know, I'm assuming George had bigger plans for this character, and he got a lot of fan backlash and pulled the reins back a lot. Do you know? I've heard that. I've not seen that confirmed.
Yes, well, there is some, actually some specifically in this movie. I was going to talk about him that he did have a plan for him. I do want to just say for the record, I don't think Lucas ever at one time considered Jar Jar being a Sith. I think the whole idea of, we talked about this before, but the idea of Jar Jar is the key to all this. That quote that everyone takes out of context. He was talking about visual effects there. He wasn't talking about his character or his impact on the story. But yeah, Jar Jar, I mean, just in the script has a much bigger presence and much bigger character. Not necessarily in terms of his impact on the plot, but just he had more screen time. He was more, just more attention was on him, and in a kind of a funny way. So I want to bring this up here. So this is an excerpt from Mythmaking, which is the book of the making of Episode 2. And so in the original Lucas Hale screenplay, the 10 years older Jar Jar was to have gone through a transformation from bungling Gungan to dignified senator, complete with refined manners and speech, dubbed Diplo dialect, although he would lapse back into his idiosyncratic demeanor and style of speech in moments of high excitement. So during principal photography, Ahmed Best performed his lines with a wonderfully upper crust Ronald Colman-esque delivery. By the time Lucas assembled the first cut of the film, however, he had decided to nix Jar Jar's new personality. It was a funny idea, Lucas explained, but when I looked at the first cut, I realized that it needed more explanation to make it work, and I didn't want to devote that much screen time to it, especially since Jar Jar is a secondary character. So given a choice of fleshing out the idea or cutting it altogether, I decided to cut it. But thankfully we get some examples of it in the script, because it's really funny. So Jar Jar says in this, as in the movie, he says, Obi, Misa's so smiling to see and you, and everyone says, good to see you, Jar Jar. And then he says, oops, where's some Misa manners? Excuse me, Master Obi-Wan. I completely forgot myself for a moment there. I have had to learn Diplo dialect. Speak it like a native now. Don't really see the point, actually, but members of the Senate seem to prefer it. So he's like, and then he probably had a much more posh accent than what I just gave him there. But but then he sees Anakin, he's like, and he reverts back to old Jar Jar again, like, oh, Annie, like, you so big in, Misa no believin'. And Anakin says, hi, Jar Jar. And then when Jar Jar introduces them, like, looky, Senator, instead of that, he says, looky, oops, oh dear, I'm afraid I've forgotten myself again.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how
big change.
Yeah, so that's how Jar Jar would have behaved. So that'd been a big And actually, there is a bit of that idea that survives in the movie, which is where he's addressing the Senate and he says Dello Feligits. Delegates. Like, so that's him trying to sound very official, and like the words he uses there are very kind of, they're not the kind of pidgin English, the kind of Jar Jar version we're used to hearing. So he does speak very well, but he doesn't have that accent. But that's an example where he kind of lapses back into being his silly self. But so we still have a glimpse of it when he's addressing the Senate, but it's not like he doesn't have a really nice upper class accent there. But so it's a really weird idea. So George definitely did have some ideas for Jar Jar in this movie.
Wow.
But I would think it would have been weird. It probably would have been weird. It probably was. You're probably right. It's probably distracting and would have thrown people off.
Wow, that's a very different Jar Jar.
Yeah.
He explored a little bit of that in Clone Wars. So
true.
He doesn't do a lot of the dialogue per se, but you really see him mature. He matures. By the time we leave Jar Jar in Clone Wars, like he's holding a relationship. He's like true. Fighting for what's right. I mean, he's Jar Jar, but he's not.
Oh yeah,
he's a lot more serious.
Yeah, and in this movie, he's as much, even though he's still sounds silly, he's holding this job as representative. He's he's not running around breaking things. He's walking very slowly and being very dignified and
all dressed up.
Exactly. Yeah, he's looking awesome in his outfit. And what was I going to say? Oh, in episode 1, we saw that arc where he started out as this bumbling fool and ends up being a general and getting all this authority and actually leads his troops to victory in a very unlikely way. But yeah, there is a growth to him, and I'm glad that we got more of that arc in Clone Wars for sure.
Yeah. I like that George brought him back. Yeah, for Clone Wars. Yeah, because he really doesn't have much presence in the episode 2 and 3.
Yeah, he
definitely. 3, he's got like one line.
Yeah, he's like, and we just see him look sad at the funeral, and that's about it. So,
wow, that's interesting.
I know, isn't that weird? That's just a fun weird little excerpt there, but yeah, what are your thoughts? I've been talking a lot. What about you?
No, you're good.
What do you think about this first meeting of Padme and Anakin after 10 years, and Obi-Wan?
Yeah. First, I do like we still get a little bit of that Alec Guinness Obi-Wan when he's talking to Jar Jar there. Good to see you, Jar Jar. Yeah, you know, he's not rolling his eyes like he was episode 1.
That's true. Yeah. He wasn't like stay here and keep out of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of like that. let's see. Just looking at the scene here. It's interesting how, because what was the time between episode 1 and episode 2, like actually making it?
About 3 years. Yeah, 99 to episode 1 was released in 99. Episode 2 was released in 02.
Okay, so Natalie Portman, who plays Padme, is how old is she in this?
She's 20, I think.
Is she 20 by?
I think so. She was playing younger in episode 1, and she's more playing her. She's still and she's playing older in this movie, but so they kind of cast her when she was kind of be in the middle. So I think she was like 16 or 17 when she was in episode 1, playing 14, and here, yeah, she's like 19 or 20, maybe even older than that, playing like 24.
Okay, I
think
because she seems like Kelly, my wife, always says like, "Wow, Padme feels so old in this movie."
Right? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, she does.
But I was wondering because I didn't think it was that long, like in our timeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but because she looks older, like you just look at her, it's like, wow.
Yep.
And the way she acts is just really different.
Yeah,
she doesn't feel like a kid. So
totally,
props to her on her acting there. But because it's Kelly often says like, I don't know, these don't feel like teenagers to me in episode 2, and I guess they're both kind of basically out of teenage.
Yeah, she's not a teenager, and he's like just technically with 19. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's close, I guess. But you really feel it here just looking at her, and it is interesting to me. Like Anakin gives us our first cringe.
Yeah.
Grown more beautiful. It's like, wow. He's just right out of the gate, man.
Yeah. It's actually worse. In the script, he says you've grown more beautiful, more shorter, or even shorter than like what? Yeah, it's like so. Yeah, it's like, dude, you don't know what you're saying.
That's just funny.
Yeah.
Do you know what the I guess the heart behind this is? Like what George is trying to convey through like right out of the gate? Like, wow.
100%. He's conveying that she is mature and he's not. That's 100% what it is. Okay. That she can handle this. She's you'll always be that little boy. Like the whole point is like she is looking down at him. She's in a power of authority and maturity, that looking down at this, this bumbling kid who's probably never talked to a girl in his life, he's over, and he's just over the top, and he's very extreme. He doesn't do subtle. Yeah.
That's true. Anakin's
and because you think about it, he's over the top in the relationship just from the beginning, because he's been anticipating her. He's been thinking about, like, I've thought about what does he say to Jar Jar at the end of the scene? Like, I've thought about her every day in the elevator. He's like sweating and anticipating it, and she barely notices him. Like he says, like, "Oh, Anakin, is that you?" And then she immediately friend zones him. There's a huge gulf. But we've established in the beginning there's just a huge gulf between them. They're completely in different states of mind, or separate frames of mind, where he's just like, she's all he can think about, and she hasn't thought about. She's been busy for the last 10 years being a senator or queen for a little bit longer, and then a senator, and so it's just, you can just see how they react. Like she's just very like, "Oh, hey Annie, good to see you," and then he's just like, he just can't breathe and freaking out and just saying all the wrong things, and so I think he's clearly just, I think that is meant to show just the how big a distance there is between them right now in terms of how they view each other, and how Anakin has to develop a more mature and more subtle and more, he has to not tighten up, but like get it together a little bit more with her by the end of the movie, and she has to loosen up a little bit more. It's very similar to the Han and Leia thing, where Leia is very kind of that's a little more extreme version of it.
Dorky guy and mature women.
Yeah, exactly. Similar thing here. Anakin, Han's a little too experienced with women, I guess, and Leia's just unimpressed. So they still have a distance. It's not that they don't have the same problems, but they still have that big gulf between them they have to cross over the course of the movie. And in this one, this gulf is not between cockiness and just like I see through your tricks. This is more just, I'm mature. I don't even see you as I still see you as a little boy, and then him saying like, "Oh, I've idolized you my whole life," kind of thing. So.
And that's something we should bring up too. I'm glad you brought that up. Is that this is meant to mirror episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, and just like episode 1 was 4, and 3 will be 6. But because this is the love story. Yep, this is the middle love story movie. Yeah, that's just a very big mirror. And it starts out like Han starts out right out of the gate in episode 5. Yeah, like, come on, you're just gonna miss me, right? Yeah. So that's, I never thought about that. Like right from the get go. Both Han and Anakin are both hitting on the Skywalker ladies.
And Leia just is like, "No, we need you as a leader." She won't even acknowledge any sort of relationship or friend or affection at all. And in this movie, I think it's very, very challenging. Is this movie, the point of this movie really is the love story, whereas Empire Strikes Back, Luke was the focus,
Right.
And Han and Leia were kind of a side issue, and so there's less time devoted to their relationship, but there's much more devoted to Anakin and Padme here. Not a whole. I mean, it's still an action movie. There's still a lot to do. Obi-Wan still has to go on his adventure with finding the clones and everything, but there's still more time devoted to this one, to this relationship than Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it's interesting to think like, how to hit. This is George Lucas's manual on how to hit on a senator.
Yeah, or what not to do.
Or a political leader.
Yeah,
right. We have Han's approach and Anakin's approach.
Yeah,
that's just so drastically different.
Yeah,
I never really thought about that as like the parallel there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and George did say like Padme is all business. She's mature. We're meant to see Anakin's immaturity here.
But it is the first time we've seen her smile in this whole movie so far. Now that we haven't seen her that long, but Anakin still makes her smile. Like we saw at the end of the movie, we got a big smile got from. You were so good at pointing out that the first time we see her smile as the queen is when Anakin is because of Anakin. Same thing here. It's been a very serious situation. If we had seen that deleted scene where she was addressing the Senate, no smiles at all, very serious matter, and then Anakin Obi-Wan seeing them again makes her smile. So
that's true.
Not an insignificant thing, but it's small, but it's important because he is the thing that breaks her out of her shell eventually.
Yeah, that's a good point because we won't really see her smile much in this movie either. There's not a lot of
only around him. With it,
only around him. Yeah, and Obi-Wan does say she was glad to see us. Yeah.
And Giorgio says she's happier than I've seen her in a long time. So that counts for nothing, or that counts for something.
Yeah. So then we get this little kind of mini briefing here. And we get a little bit of the Padme stubbornness. The situation is much more dangerous than the senator wants to admit. And then she goes in there. We start to see this is the Padme she's grown into.
Yep.
Versus like the Queen compared to episode 1.
Yeah, I don't need more security. That was not the Padme from episode 1. That was not the Padme that was hiding behind decoys and wanting to. Yeah, she was. This is investigative. She's decisive. She's being the leader, even though she's not the Queen anymore.
Right.
She's not hiding anymore. Or doesn't want to, at least.
Boy, and you see Anakin just hook, line, and sinker. He's all in.
Yeah, exactly.
We will find out who killed her, was trying to kill you.
Yep.
He hears her. I mean, you can just see him clinging to every single word she has. Yeah. Yeah. Boy, and he will. I don't know. It's just interesting to me. Like he is all in. Like I will do whatever you ask.
Yep.
And he literally tells her that later in this movie. I don't know. And I've just wondered if that has to do with his slave mentality, his willing to sacrifice himself. Like this is what I know. I am into, like, I'm going to give myself to you,
Well, he's Mr. Like, I'm going to solve the problem, whatever it is. Right. And that's what he did in episode 1. It was, he was always helping people. I was just editing the episode where we talked about, Anakin helping the old lady. It was a really cool unit for her, inviting all his, these new friends he just made into his house and just, he's such a big helper, and he wanted to solve everyone's problems. Yeah. And so, Padme here is like, no, we can do it. We got it. We'll solve it. And then, but that attitude of, I can solve any problem, and I should solve any problem. Like that's, that becomes a problem.
Yeah. That's
in and of itself.
That's true.
So, yeah.
But would you say it's fair to say there's this side of Anakin where he gives everything to those he loves? Because I'm sensing some of that. And that's different.
How do you mean?
Yeah. Like he's, I think about his mom, how she says like he gives no thought of grief.
No thought of reward,
where he's just like, I'm here to serve you, and he does that. And he'll play with that some in the Clone Wars arcs with the slaves in particular.
Yeah, I mean he gives his life for his son at the very end of it all. Yeah,
yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
In the Clone Wars, he's kind of criticized by that a little bit by the Jedi of like he's just so passionate, he's just so led by his feelings.
Right.
Like I'm going to just give everything I have to those I love.
Yeah, for a droid, and at one point in Clone Wars, too, like he goes. They'll do anything for R2 and for Ahsoka. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what you're saying. Yeah, I think so.
And we see that. I think.
Yeah.
And then they talk about in that Clone Wars arc where he's a slave, how the slave owner in the Clone Wars arc is saying like, you serve your masters. You're enslaved to the Republic. You're enslaved to the Jedi. Like of course you're a slave. Yeah. And Anakin struggle with that a little bit. Like, wait, no, I'm free. But we see that. I'm just curious on how much his slavery plays into who he is, because especially when we get to the dialogue between the two of them later. Where he's like, I'll do whatever you ask. He's just so quick to be like, you just tell me.
That's a good point.
Like, I am in. Like, I want you, and I'm going to serve you.
Yeah.
It's not quite that greed yet. I mean, there's pride, right? And of course, he wants a relationship. But I don't know. It seems different to me than just like, you will serve me. He's just like, I want you, like
Yeah.
whatever I need to do to serve you.
That's true. That's a good.
I don't
Yeah,
know. What do
I
you
think
think?
there's something. I think there's something to that. Yeah, I haven't thought about that specifically, but but yeah, that's
Just curious.
no, that's interesting. I think you're on something there. I have to. Well, I'll definitely be on the look for that. Be on the lookout for that because that's interesting, and that seems to check out. Yeah,
Go ahead.
well, and Lucas, I know he said that Anakin's problem is that he loveth too much, and that it kind of just goes to because he's just so all in and so extreme, especially at the end when he wants to save Padme from death.
Right.
That, yeah, he'll kind of sacrifice common sense or a more prudent action just to whatever I can do to solve this problem for you.
Yeah.
Actually, and it eventually turns into selfishness, even though at this point it's more selfless, probably. Yeah, that's a good. That's it's interesting. I haven't quite looked at it from that specific perspective, but I like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if George has said anything. I've not heard him say anything on just Anakin as a slave, because it's a big theme and a big part of who he is.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of that's intentional. Obviously, episode 1.
Yeah,
but then the Clone Wars stuff. So I'm just curious on how much George was thinking Anakin as slave.
Yeah,
and just the way he operates.
Yeah,
because I think that's sort of different from the pride. Like different part of him.
Yeah. That's comes from the good part of him. That he wants to, it was something that was exploited when he was a slave. It was his desire to serve others and be helpful and sacrifice for them. It's love, sacrificing for these people. But that gets exploited by Palpatine. Like how much he defends Palpatine shows how much he cares for him and wants to serve him. And like my loyalties lie with the Chancellor. And with you.
Yeah. You have to research that and send me some stuff because I'm curious. Because I feel like that's a big part of why this is so clunky in their relationship, particularly when we get to that scene with the two of them. Because a lot of people criticize that. Like, what is he talking about? And we'll save a lot of that for that. But I'm curious on what his drive is as a slave. How that's influenced him.
I would look at the commentary for that scene because I know George talks about that. I would revisit that, and I'm going to do that for sure when we get to that scene. But I know he talks about what Anakin's doing and that how he talks about the dialogue and what the fact he's saying all these extreme things. And he kind of does that throughout this whole movie, but specifically in that scene, he really kind of bears his heart out for her. It's like, and I don't think he in that part of it. I don't think he necessarily ties it to slavery, and I don't really know many times where Lucas specifically talks about Anakin in his relationship to slavery, and how it affected him. But there might be. I'm always on the lookout for new Lucas quotes. So I'll try and find that. If I find anything, I'll definitely let you know. But I'm
curious on how George was thinking about Anakin in that, and that's because it's part of his life, But
big part.
How much did George intend that to drive him,
Yeah,
and I've always interpreted that way with episode 2. It's just that's all he knows.
Yeah,
like this is how I love. I've served. I'm a slave to you. That's my definition of love.
Right.
That's what I've been taught.
Interesting.
By the
and
Jedi,
the Jedi servants. Yeah. Huh.
So
I like that.
I don't know. I've been curious about that. I'm just thinking about that.
I like it though.
Because I could see where that would come off weird to us. And again, we're about to get to another cringe moment here. But I'm just wondering if that's what's operating, or like what Anakin's operating out of. I mean, clearly wants to impress her.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I was just gonna say that part of it is definitely wants to impress her and make be like, look how awesome I am. I'm gonna solve your problem. Yeah, but that's for sure. That's definitely coming from a more a deeper part of him. It might be that. So interesting.
I've always thought that. I wondered about that. Boy, and I love the way Hayden plays this. He's so. I mean, he's just locked on.
Yeah, laser focused on
Padme.
Yeah.
It's like Obi-Wan, Jar Jar, everyone else has just disappeared. He's just. I will do what you want.
Yeah.
I will do what you need.
Yeah, and the frame we're looking at right now, the blocking is really good here because everyone's face, everything is pointing you towards to focus on Anakin right now. Jar Jar is facing him, Obi-Wan's facing him, Padme's facing him, so the audience's eye is drawn to him, and so you're exactly what you meant to pick up on. That's what the audience is going to see because this very well could have been a shot of Padme or Jar Jar listening to him or Obi-Wan listening to him, but the fact that it's not a close-up of Anakin, but it's a medium. Where you can see a medium shot where you can see everyone's focusing on Anakin. You can see like everyone's going, "Whoa, you're being really intense right now." And everyone saying, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you overstepping your boundaries?" So that's great. I just wanted to point out that that's the fact that you picked up on that in this shot is not an accident. That was the blocking there is meant to draw you into his not just his stare, but also everyone's reaction to it.
And it's cool because a lot of times I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, you get a close up of the eyes in a shot when that's trying to do that. Whereas I feel like George, I could be wrong. This could be normal, but it's a wider shot and everyone's just kind of pointing to him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like I feel like if you really want an intense feeling, it's always kind of a close up, but maybe not.
Especially if you want, in this case, if you want the audience to see how everyone's reacting to what they're saying, you go wider and make sure everyone else is, you see their reactions in the same shot. And in the next shot, we'll see the focus that really is on Obi-Wan's reaction to what Anakin's kind of like blurry in the foreground. We see Obi-Wan's face like staring at him, frowning, going, "What are you doing, dude?" Like that. That's another. In that case, the emphasis is on Obi-Wan's reaction. But yes, if Lucas he might have gotten this shot too, because Lucas likes to get different angles at once while he's filming. He could have gotten a shot of Anakin in a close-up right here. But I think what was more important to him in this case is I want to see. Okay, he's not. Well, I see the shot now, and Anakin's not quite as blurry as I thought he would be. But the focus is definitely in Obi-Wan in that shot. But it could have been another angle of Anakin right here over Obi-Wan's shoulder, where Lucas probably did capture that scene. That moment where Anakin's intensely staring at Padme, telling her like, I got this. We'll solve your problem for you. That could just been an editing choice, but I think I like the choice he made because it includes everyone's reaction to it, and the geography, the composition draws your eye to him, and just a lot of people are kind of down on the cinematography and the prequels and just Lucas in general. Like he's not this super painterly, or his compositions aren't most bold, but it's work. They all work. They're very intentionally done. So just the fact that you were drawn to Anakin's face there, I'm like, that's a consequence of George's understanding of composition. So just a small little filmmaking thing there, but
can I ask another question?
Yeah, go for it.
So it seems to be this is sun setting. What are we supposed to gather from this? Because we started with at least with this scene, it was like the elevator. It's kind of light. I don't know if it was...
The light was waning. It was a little more... Yeah, it was like you can see that first shot when they get to the penthouse, you see Padme kind of having a conference with her people on the veranda. The sun's kind of low in the sky there. So...
And then we're going to get to nighttime. So
I'm not sure if because we didn't get a very like focused view of the sunset and like we didn't get like a shot devoted to it. I don't think if Lucas is necessarily establishing a mood with it, more just the fact that it's, in the scene, she's like, if you'll excuse me, I will retire. It's late in the day. She's like, I'm tired. I almost died today. So I'm going to go take a nap. Someone tried to kill me. It's been an eventful day.
Gotcha. Okay.
Whereas, in Phantom Menace, we had those beautiful shots of the city where the sun was going down and it was clearly going from sunset to nighttime. And the background, the environment, the sky was a huge focus.
Yeah.
I don't see that in this scene. So it doesn't mean that it's not, again, light waning is always usually not a great sign. Usually a sign of something getting worse.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily. I think now it's just I think it's just a logistical thing. It's a later time of day. Yeah. That's my guess.
That makes sense.
I haven't heard Lucas say anything otherwise, so we'll see.
But we will come back to that. Like at the end, what this movie ends.
Yes.
The sun's going down. We'll talk about that. But yeah. Okay. I was curious.
Okay.
And then interesting here, we see Anakin being Anakin. And his disobeying orders in the best way possible.
Yeah.
He always tries to spin that, and they'll really play that up in Clone Wars. But he'll get an order and obey the order technically.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's implied in our mandate. Yes.
Yeah. And we see that here introduced. Like, of course. Like, I'll obey the mandate. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna protect her, but why did Jedi? We're gonna make this, the way I want it to go.
Yeah, and we see Obi-Wan's frustration with like a very immature and bratty Qui-Gon right now, where he's like, "What are you doing? Like, we have rules. Let's stick to them." And Anakin's like, "No," and like Qui-Gon probably would have been a more dealt with this better. Anakin's still, immature with it. Yeah.
And George does comment on that, like how Obi-Wan's just kind of constantly surrounded by Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
He has him as his master, the middleman, and then he gets Anakin, and then a little bit of Luke later.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is still more by the book, but now the Maverick is the Padawan. And Obi-Wan is too. Obi-Wan does, as we kind of talked about, he's kind of softened a bit. He's very much by the book. He's very much, I got to be the master and the in charge when he's around Anakin. But once they separate, you see Obi-Wan start to do, he's going to diners and like talking. He's being a little more of a rule breaker, more of a maverick than he probably would let. It's sort of like do what I say, not what I do, kind of thing. When he's around Anakin, like he plays the role of the master, and then he's a little more cavalier when they're separate. So again, like Lucas said, they're a little more alike than a lot of people assume. Like the fact that he jumps out of the window and grabs the droid. It's like, whoa, that seems more like an Anakin or a Qui-Gon move rather than Obi-Wan seemed like the one to go get a speeder and chase after it. Like that'd be the sensible thing. But Obi-Wan, nope, immediately jumps out the window.
There you go, little Qui-Gon Anakin.
Yeah, on him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Obi-Wan is not. He's a bit more of a sponge than he'd probably like to admit. Where he's absorbed what Qui-Gon and Anakin have been teaching him. But, yeah.
And then we get this cringe scene.
Yeah, where it's
you're meant to feel just. Ugh.
Yeah, and I love that shot of Jar Jar where he kind of like swallows and it's like kind of looking back and forth between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like this is not comfy.
Yeah. Even Padme, she kind of does this look like okay. And so, what's the exercise Obi-Wan's talking about here? He says, "We'll not go through this exercise again, Anakin."
Yeah, that's an interesting. I'm wondering if it's just. I've taught you to like slow down and pay attention to my lead and everything, and we're not going to go through that again. Or I don't know of any. I don't think the script ever said anything more specific about what kind of exercise that was. But and I haven't heard Lucas talk about it. But
I haven't either. And then we get Sorry, I have so many questions. But go ahead. Go ahead. You got some notes there.
Yeah, just little things here and there. Like this scene really, again, is very much establishing that in episode 1, Padme and Anakin had their own stories, but Padme was the main one driving the plot, and Anakin was the emotional and thematic center of that movie. But the movie wasn't ultimately about him. Right. And now he is a larger player. And in this film, those two stories kind of come together, like the plot and the emotional kind of come together. So Padme's, her assassination, they're trying to hide. She's still kind of the focus of the plot, even though there's the clone is a kind of a side issue. Clones are kind of a side issue, but still connected to it. Right. But now that she starts to become part of that emotional side of things where Anakin was before, and so that their story become intertwined. And so that just I did, for some reason, I wrote this note when I saw this scene where I just started to realize, this is the kind of coming together of those two. They're no longer separate. They're obviously it's not just two characters being united, it's two stories, two parts of the storytelling being united as well. Another thing I wanted to point out, it's a simple thing and everyone knows this, but Anakin's wearing darker robes, right? He's wearing this darker colors. It's simple, but it's important in demonstrating his character visually. So he is separate from the other Jedi, not just and not necessarily have to be in a darker sense, but just that he is other. He is apart from the group. He's the black sheep, actually, literally. And just that again, Lucas is if you didn't understand the dialogue, which I didn't really understand as a kid, already Anakin stands out and he's different from Obi-Wan. Everyone's looking at him weird. He dresses differently. He's got that stare, that visual intensity on his face that other characters don't have. Everything is telling you that this kid is weird. There's something off about him. Like he's not necessarily in a bad way, but he's just so unique from everyone else around him. But of course, that darker robes do hint at a darker future. Yeah,
which I'm glad you brought that up because we have not seen a Jedi do this yet, right?
Yep.
At least episode 1 and now 2. Yeah. I mean, episode 6, Luke is wearing black. Yeah. Which throws everybody off.
Yeah.
But
it's not a good sign there either.
Yeah. But here, I mean, we've never seen Jedi robes like this. This is totally unique.
I remember that was a big deal when this movie came out. Like, whoa, Anakin's got completely brown robe. That's cool. Like I thought as a kid, like that's so different. Yeah.
I can't think of a single Jedi that does that. Is there another Jedi that even gets close to that?
I think,
especially with like leather, like we don't ever see anyone wear black and leather.
I think no, I don't think Lucas ever did that. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember, is it Tales of the Jedi? We see young Jedi Dooku. He's wearing darker robes.
Oh, interesting.
I think they did a similar thing, which makes sense because he's, heading on a darker path. I think they do that with him, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, you have the off Jedi like Arisafi and Luminara where they're in black and very dark robes.
That's true. Huh?
But those are a different style of robe, and this seems to me hints more as that's something of their culture. It doesn't look like a traditional Jedi robe, but Anakin has a traditional shape, like the vest with like the different layers, and it's all the same components, but they have a darker shade. So I think that's, more meant to say like he's a darker version of what everyone else is. But yeah, true. Kid Fisto, my boy, he's got kind of gray, darker robes, but not nothing crazy. So yeah.
I forgot about Luminar and Varys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like and Plo Koon kind of has Does he have? I think Plo Koon's got brown robes.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He does. Yeah. So, especially in Clone Wars, at least, He's got the brown. So
Yeah.
I think it's more just the fact it's of our main characters of the main group that Anakin is the darker one, and on the periphery you see on the edges you see Jedi with more variation. But I think, especially going when we saw last time we saw Anakin in Jedi robes, they were pure white, and he was wearing kind of like lighter colors as a young boy.
That's interesting. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm really thinking about that. Like, wow, because Luminara and Varys, they don't wear anything that even kind of looks like Jedi robes.
Yeah, I gotta say, it seems more like
different.
something that their culture would wear or something. Yeah, like more
Yeah.
tribal or not more cultural heritage stuff than Jedi robes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and same with the Twi'lek. Oh my gosh, what is her name? I can't.
Oh, Aayla Secura.
Aayla Secura.
She also has darker color too.
Yeah.
I think that's
She's not Jedi robes. Yeah.
No.
Totally
Yeah. Very different.
Just
Of course, Ahsoka. I know, yeah. Well, let's say with Ahsoka never wears traditional Jedi wear either. So there's very obviously room for variations. That's why I think it's interesting that Anakin has the traditional Jedi robe ensemble, but it's the color and the material is darker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I never really thought about like the Jedis as a whole. I noticed Anakin's was dark, and that was interesting to me. But that's stuff to think about.
Yeah.
I also really like here. Oh man, it's so cringy. Where Anakin just says why, where we will. What does he say? I don't remember Obi-Wan's line exactly.
It's like, and you will pay attention to my.
You will pay attention to me.
Why? Oh yeah.
Obi-Wan's what?
Yeah, and that's when Jar Jar is like, dude, what? Yeah.
This look, and then Anakin puts it on a spin. I don't know if Anakin meant to do this or not. Whereas if he was originally questioning Obi-Wan, or is he's really originally questioning like what he says here. Why else do you think Jedi are assigned to her? Yeah. It is interesting to know like what his original thought is. But we cringe.
Yeah. The script makes it just sound like he was saying why else. He should have said more than just why, but because he did mean what he meant later when he says why else do you think we were assigned to find her or to find the killer?
It's not a spin per se.
No, I think it's just that he just doesn't. Again, he's just not tactful. He's not subtle. He just doesn't know how to phrase things the right way. He doesn't know how to.
Blunt and all.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to carry himself the right way that doesn't throw everybody off.
Mm-hmm. We see some good emotion here too. I think in Anakin, where he's just kind of like it's not typically the stoic that we've seen, the peaceful. Mm-hmm. He's like, why else would Jedi? And we kind of because this. What are you talking about? Yeah, you see that emotion played out on him. Yeah. Did you have more notes on this particular dialogue?
Not really, because I guess we sort of hinted at it already, but mostly the relationship between Anakin and Padme and him and Jar Jar at the end of the scene. Like the rest of the dialogue here with the conversation is very functional. It's like, well, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. Typho's like, I'm gonna show you the security I have and check it out and everything. So that's just very functional. But I like when Anakin talks to Jar Jar and Jar Jar's like, it's so good to see you, and Anakin doesn't even look at Jar Jar. He's like, she completely ignored me, or she completely forgot about me, and
just like he did to him at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. And but the point is like, no, she's actually was happy to see you. She's happier than I've seen her in a long time. Mm-hmm. Like Jar Jar trying to be encouraging, and Obi-Wan same thing. It's like she was pleased to see us. So just that reinforcement of that, where Anakin is focusing on the negative, as Obi-Wan always says. When actually this is. He probably feels like he really messed up and like it was really embarrassing. When it's actually, he forgets that he is an old friend that she hasn't seen in 10 years. She is happy to see him, even though it was a little embarrassing to see him and Obi-Wan interact that way. Mm-hmm.
I do like how we get Padme. We see Padme, like politician Padme here. Yep. She brings the middle ground between Obi-Wan and Anakin here.
Yeah, exactly. She's like tries to resolve it. Yeah. She's playing politician. That's true. I didn't catch that. Yeah, good point.
Like perhaps as you obey your mandate, you'll find the killer. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And then she's like, "I'm down, going to bed."
Yeah, exactly. Before this gets worse, I'm going to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's a well played scene. I don't think any of these guys are struggling in their acting here.
No, not at all.
Like everyone criticizes this movie for it, but I think they're meant to play a cringy scene.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think that any of these guys just watching it are dropping the ball.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's. I think it's obvious that this is Lucas doesn't want this to go smoothly. Like this is not the meet cute moment that you get in a lot of rom-coms or anything. This is just them. This is them being like. Let's see. You can see Anakin just staring at her. And she's like, "Wow, I never caught that before."
Neither. Just gonna point that out. Yeah.
But yeah, just the fact that they're just not it is not there. It's not working for either of them right now. And Anakin's saying all the wrong things, and she's just being very serious and not, giving him any sign. Like he thinks like, oh, she's forgotten me completely. He doesn't get any sign from her that she's interested. He doesn't notice the smile, even though that was a very small sign from her that she's happy to see him. And that he can get her to smile still. He doesn't really pick up on that, and Jar Jar and Obi-Wan have to remind him of that. Just that they're both kind of blind to what's happening. They're not into it right now yet.
Yeah. It bothers me that so many people are just so critical of these movies.
Yeah.
I just don't.
And I understand it because, this is kind of how I feel about Lord of the Rings in a way where everyone, if you ask anyone who their favorite character in Lord of the Rings is, they'll say Sam or Aragorn. And my favorite characters in Lord of the Rings are Frodo and Boromir. Because
interesting.
They're us. Frodo is flawed, Boromir is flawed. They really, really fail, but they both they give me, those characters inspire me because they fall so far, but that they redeem themselves at the end. Whereas Sam and Aragorn, they're just great all the time. Like we aspire to be them, but that's not who we actually are. If we're honest with ourselves, we're more like Frodo than we are like Sam. And in this case, we're more like Anakin than we are like Luke or Qui-Gon or Yoda or these characters. So I think audiences can be very uncomfortable when they see a character that's like them on the screen, where it's like, we don't want to see that. We want to see a character that we wish we were. We want to see the superhero. We want to see the character who's got it all together. Or a character that starts out bad and just gets better and better, or starts out okay but gets better and better. When actually Lucas is saying here, no, you have this darkness inside of you. This is you have a huge potential to become Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, and just your choices matter and these things, and you can be both. And so it can be very uncomfortable to see Anakin, because I don't know about you, but I've been that awkward around girls. I've said equally as stupid things. I've talked back to my parents, to my authority figures, and something we don't like to see, because we've experienced that. We've done that. We know what it feels like to be in both positions, probably. Anakin and Obi-Wan, and
I know it's not good.
So it's like I love Anakin's character because, again, he's inspiring. He gives me hope that even at the very, very end of his life, he turned it around. He fell as low as anyone could, and he brought it back. Same with Frodo, same with Boromir. So that's
interesting.
Yeah, and so Sam and Aragorn and Qui-Gon and Yoda, they're all characters that they're very easy to love. Like, wow, you're inspiring. Want to be just like them. Like you aspire to be that, but if you're honest with yourself, you're actually Frodo, you're actually Anakin, or you're actually Luke, and you have potential to become Darth Vader or this great Jedi. So.
Wow, how interesting! I never thought about that. How we always love characters we want to be,
and we don't want to look at the characters. Same with Jar Jar and Anakin. Like, why does everyone hate Jar Jar? Because it's uncomfortable when we're silly and embarrass ourselves and we break things, and that's like being a kid. The worst part of being a kid and being like a stranger, like adults' house, is when you're on edge. Like, oh, I break something. Like, I always felt bad going to my uncle's house, on my dad's side. He is very particularly things like clean and neat, and I was always terrified I was going to break something. And I always end up spilling my drink or something because I was on edge. That's what it's like to be Jar Jar. I'd be clumsy and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. And so when you empathize with characters on screen, you're feeling what they're feeling. And so you see Jar Jar, that's a little uncomfortable. I don't like that, because and if we're honest, it's because we've felt that way, I think. And so I think so. And so that's why I think that it's so cool that Lucas took these characters that can be that represent very uncomfortable parts of ourselves and made them the focus, and made them and redeems them, and shows, well, actually there's potential here, and you shouldn't ignore it. You should ignore Jar Jar. You should ignore Anakin. You shouldn't think little of them, because look what they do. They save the galaxy in the end of the day. So same with Frodo and Boromir. So
wow, that was deep, man. I really like it.
Oh, thank you. I thought hard about that, especially I started with Lord of the Rings. I'm like, why do I like Frodo so much? Why do I like Boromir so much? Like, oh, it's because they're inspiring. It's because they give me hope. Because I've definitely been as bad as they've been, or I can see myself getting making the same mistakes as Frodo or Boromir, but the fact that they can redeem themselves, that's inspiring. Sam's always good, Aragorn's always good, which is great, and they're great friends to have around. That's how we see other people, like, oh, they're doing so great. We don't know everyone else's pain that they're dealing with. We don't know what they're going through, so that we just see the good parts of them. But Frodo and Boromir, it's like you get to be with them in the private failures, where it's like, this is the worst myself, and oh no, and now everyone gets to see it. And so, and yet still, Boromir, as Aragorn says, like, you fought bravely, and you've what does he say? He says something like, you've brought honor to or
Oh,
you've redeemed
yeah.
yourself, or something like that. It's like I just love that. It seemed like that's just so it gives me so much hope. Like okay, you can pull it together in the end.
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
You know you're flawed.
Exactly. Yeah, Frodo betrayed Sam, and he trusted Gollum when he shouldn't have. He did all these horrible things. At the end of it, he you root for him at the end. So
Wow.
anyway, that's just
Dude.
some.
I think you just changed the way I watch all movies. That's amazing.
Well,
yeah. How interesting, because we don't like to have the mirror pulled up at us
no. Yeah.
and recognize the flaws. We're just like
that's what art is for. It's there to hold, as Shakespeare says, it's there to hold the mirror up to us. All the warts and all good stuff, yes, but also the bad stuff. And so if we're uncomfortable with Anakin, and Padme's relationship, it's probably because we see that in ourselves and we don't want to admit it.
You can relate to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can at least all relate to at least some of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, dude, that's so cool. Well, and I love that because I think that's so critical for us if you're as fans, if we're going to enjoy the prequels particularly. Because I mean, it gets so much hate.
Yep.
You know, and I think the hate is misplaced.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's the actors. I don't think it's the dialogue. I mean, sure, it could be better. Sure, I get it. But anything could be better if you nitpick it to death, right?
Yep.
And I get it, but it just changes everything to think like, wow, maybe our problem with these prequel movies is that it just shows our flaws and we don't like it.
Yeah.
We don't like these cringy moments. I mean, you're meant to not like
Yep.
it, right? And George knew that going into these. He says that over and over again.
Yep.
So, that's so cool. We better wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because my computer's about to die.
Oh, it is? Okay, no problem.
And then my kids are about to go to bed. But,
well, that's good. That's a good spot.
that's amazing, man.
The next thing we'll get into is I have a deleted scene with Mace Windu and Yoda that I think is pretty cool. That
That'd be awesome.
We'll get into that the next time. But cool, we made it through. We made it through one scene.
Hey, we made it. But way to set the stage for like watching this movie. You know, I mean, those are some major.
Oh yeah,
things.
exactly. This scene is there to set up. Okay, this is the relationship between the characters, and this will continue. Or this is the starting point. We'll see how they grow, how they falter, how they redeem themselves throughout the rest of the movie. So yeah, very important scene.
Oh, that's so great. These are huge to understanding like just how do we appreciate this movie. I think it's underrated.
Oh yeah, I loved this movie. I still love it. I loved this movie as a kid. Still love it. Yeah, and it's definitely I think it's the hardest story that Lucas had to tell of all 6 movies. I think this is probably one of the most challenging ones for him.
Yeah.
We can tell like how hard it was for him to get the script ready on time and how he needed help. Like the script was ready very last minute. Like it took him forever to get the script ready. And it's just because if you think about it, and we'll see this as the movie goes on, it's a very challenging story to tell. Like this very specific type of a romance that again it's kind of uncomfortable and doesn't work very well. It's not destined for success. It's a doomed relationship. It's not a good relationship. But you still have to make that compelling, and then the mystery side of it. It's just very, very different from all the other Star Wars movies. For me, Attack of the Clones and Empire Strikes Back to me are just the most difficult movies.
That makes sense.
To make. It's a miracle that they pulled them off as well as they did. So I don't. I think they're very, very challenging stories to tell in terms of all 6 movies. But
that's a great point.
Not only the fact, or also just the fact that they're both middle chapters. They don't have a satisfying beginning or ending. You know, so that's already difficult. So anyway,
wow,
that was a good scene to set the stage for the rest of the movie. So.
Yeah, it really is. That's so important, I think, to understanding this. Yeah. So maybe to end on a couple trivia, Carrie Fisher played a role in the dialogue and writing the dialogue. Did you know that for some of the prequels?
I think I knew that maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You keep going because I don't remember this off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know what she influenced, but she does have. I don't know if he even puts a writing credit for her, but it's George and Carrie were both very open about it. How he ran the dialogue past her, or the script, I think. That's right. And she contributed quite a bit, from my understanding.
Yeah, he always did like to send the script to his friends to do like little dialogue polishes on things because again he knew that he's not dumb. He said he's not. He admitted that he's the king of wooden dialogue. He's like, no, I need help. Almost every Star Wars movie went through that dialogue polish, except for Phantom Menace, I think.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was on episode 2 and 3 where Carrie came in at least a little.
Okay.
I don't know how much. I wish I knew. Like, Carrie did that, but and maybe there's some in our research we'll find, but kind of neat.
Yeah,
Carrie Fisher played a role in this.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're interested in Carrie Fisher, her brother did a really neat interview with Rebel Force Radio this past week.
Oh, really?
It was really good.
That's cool.
He just opens up a lot about her and her struggles with drug addiction and kind of the end of her life. It was really interesting. So if you're interested in that, it was really cool.
Okay, yeah. Definitely.
But also, I saw this week, I didn't know this, Natalie Portman came out recently and did an interview as like GQ or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about how she took a piece of every movie. Like she takes something from every movie. And episode 2, she took Anakin's Padawan braid.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear about this. That's so funny. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Hayden Christensen comments on it. He watches the interview, and he's like, I don't know. I always thought it was cool, but that's not my hair. I don't know whose hair that is that she's holding on to.
That's funny.
But I thought that was kind of a neat little touch.
Yeah, that's clever.
Like
that's
she
funny.
did, because Natalie Portman's kind of been, I don't know if embarrassed is the right term, but she kind of keeps her distance from Star Wars, particularly the Star Wars fans. Like she's not at conventions or anything like that.
Yeah.
But she's starting to come around, just like took Harrison Ford some time. Came around with the fans, even Mark Hamill. But that was one thing I thought was interesting. Like she took a little piece of it. And,
that's cool.
So
that's funny.
there's some Attack of the Clones trivia. For
you. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But nice. Well, any final thoughts or anything?
No, I think that's a good spot to end. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to we get to meet the bounty hunters. Actually, before we get there, we'll do the deleted scene.
Yes.
Yoda, because that technically in the script takes place before that. And I think there's a lot of fun stuff in there that really clarify the larger issues with the dark side of the Force and how that influences. So stuff you'll like. I know, you'll like that stuff. So
that'd be great.
You can whet your appetite for the next one.
Oh, cliffhanger. Yeah. So join us next time.
Exactly.
Because I'm just as anticipating as you guys are. Nice.
Cool.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
As always, love it.
Yeah. Glad to do it in person.
That was really cool. A special on location.
Yeah.
With all my kids making noise.
Yeah, that'll be great.
So we appreciate it. It was fun.
Yep.
Until next time, guys.
On to the next one.
May the Force be with you.
All right, that's it for this episode. Join us in the next one as we continue our series on Attack of the Clones. As always, thanks for listening, and on to the next one.